was lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Kyra Knight here. So today I want to try something a little bit different. I wanted to do like a little talk through commentary type vibe. So we'll see how we like her. I did research for this video and everything. So I'm hoping that it turns out good. I only have like so much time before I have to go to work. So hopefully she's a one-take wonder. And yeah, we're just gonna get this show on the road. So today we're gonna be talking all about Gen Z versus real jobs, why, you know, people are blaming millennials and Gen Z for, you know, everybody quitting and going through the great resignation, as people are calling it. So basically I just want to talk about that, my thoughts on it were, and just go into you with the facts. I got charts and everything. The rise of social media growing up. So I feel like Gen Z is like the first generation where we actually literally grew up with technology. Like millennials kind of aged into it, but they didn't have like, you know, social media and stuff as they were like young kids. That those kind of things happened when they were already like in high school, or, you know, like I said, like they aged up into it kind of at a somewhat appropriate time. Gen Z, I feel like we were like born into it. Like MySpace was around when I was like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, like, you know, so it's pretty young when all this social media stuff like really started and really began. So that really like framed, you know, how this generation really grew up. Like our framework for the world was around social media. Like we had TV and celebrities, obviously, you know, we still had MTV, 106 in Park, Disney Channel, all that stuff that definitely, you know, shaped our realities. But it was really like we had social media. We had, you know, Facebook at the beginning. Like that was my first social media account, was Facebook, like 6th grade. Thought I was the coolest. Like I said, so like our framework for society came from like social media, and us growing up watching these millennials kind of take over the world, take over our realities. And now we're starting to see young people that are our ages reinvent that, which is a very cool and interesting thing that no other generation has ever like come up with. Like I was watching a podcast recently, and they were forgot what the name is, called like Summer Fridays. Yeah, Summer Fridays. It was on the Pretty Basic podcast with Alicia and Remy, Pretty Basic, the Summer Fridays, and they were talking about how they were hiring, like looking to hire a professional TikToker to like run their TikTok account. Like that's not a job. like I mean, it is a job. It's a thing that exists now, but it's something that like that didn't exist 5 years ago. That literally that job did not exist, and now it's something that people are hiring for, like somebody to market just on one social media account, because that's how much money it is just in basing yourself in that one social media platform. You know, that will have people that only run their YouTube, only run their Instagrams, and people pay a lot of money for that. Like, just run this account for me is a full-time business, and that's crazy. With the rise in social media, I feel like this generation more than any other was like lifestyle exposure. We were just exposed to it on a whole different level, because I feel like millennials and whatnot, they were more exposed to, you know, like celebrities, you know, like Crib, like what's that show? Something Crib. What was that Crib show that was on MTV? Can't think of the name of it. Wow, people are gonna expose me. Editing Kyra here is MTV Cribs. I'm just stupid. I literally said the name and then couldn't figure it out. Stupid. Okay. Sorry about that existence. Continue. But yeah, like people, you know, see that, or all like the beginning of reality shows and stuff was just starting like really popping off in like the early 2000s, and that was already getting us exposed to more lifestyles and just bigger lifestyles than growing up in our just regular neighborhoods and what we were normally exposed to. There's the lifestyles that we were not commonly exposed to. We're now seeing on like a really big scale, like super sweet 16s. Like, you thought that when you turn 16 you're supposed to get a freaking Audi or a BMW, because that was like a normal thing on on reality TV. So you're like, oh, that's the way life works. I'm supposed to get that. I'm gonna get all that when I turn 16. No. No ma'am, no sweetie. Not unless your parents are just randomly super rich and they like wasting money on teenagers. Like, that's not it's not real life. But that's the way like we grew up thinking that was like real life. So I feel like just the things that we expect out of our lives and the standard that we hold ourselves to is just, it's even bigger than just like what our parents expected or our grandparents expected. But our generation, we're like, no ma'am, no sweetie, we're not about to. It's like we're not going to settle for that normal, really white standard of life, American dream stand. Like, we don't want that anymore. We're like, that's boring. This is a scam and I'm not feeling it. So yeah, just the exposure to the possibilities of all the things you can do, just being free from all the normal idealistics of the past generations that we were exposed to. Gen Z being quote unquote lazy. Why is it that baby boomers and the, I don't know, what are they called, Generation X, why do they think that we are lazy? And there are a few different reasons why they would come to that conclusion. This generation, more than ever, one, with the rise of social media, we're more aware of our mental health more than ever. The levels of anxiety and depression right now is like higher than ever. And I think that's in part of social media. And I also think it's a part of people just didn't talk about those things. Back in the day, like, people didn't know, like, they didn't have the terms for it. Like, they had the feelings, but I don't think they really had the terms and the descriptions to really like understand, like, oh, I'm feeling anxious right now, or oh, I'm really depressed, that's why I'm I'm very sad. I'm people would think that something was wrong with you. They're like, hey, you're sad, boo-hoo, go to fucking work. And that's not really the way that our generation is running. They're like, no, this doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel right when I'm doing these things. And we really lead with our hearts in that way. I feel like just our generation, like, we have such a glamorized versions of life in our head. Thanks to social media, seeing people's highlight reels on things like their Instagrams and people's vlogs. We only see people's like the best part of their lives, and we have an ideal that our lives are supposed to look like that. And so I feel like it's, that's definitely heightened the anxiety and caused depression for people, because they think that, oh, my life is not good enough because it's not equaling out to the lives of people that we're seeing online. So that's definitely been like a huge breaking point in our society. And with the whole pandemic and stuff last year, I feel like just the the job security ideal, like, oh, well, at least I have security, and knowing that I working for somebody else, like, I know my job is guaranteed. And then we realize, oh shit, it's not. It's like this whole thing comes crumbling down. My job isn't a necessity, it's not needed, and it's not guaranteed. So now we're over here freaking out like, well, what am I supposed to do? What's little me supposed to do? And that's when the most small businesses that were ever created in 1 year happened in 2020, because people were like, I need to get to the bag, I need to be working for myself, and I don't want to have to rely on somebody that at this point is not reliable. According to this, 1/3 of Gen Zers are demanding a say-so over their schedule more than ever. More than 1/3 won't tolerate being forced to work when they don't want to, or being denied vacation time because we're like, hello, I put money down for this, I need to leave immediately. And slightly less than 1/3 will refuse to work back-to-back shifts. So low-key, we kind of have extremely high bougie standards that these corporations are like, who do you think you are? You just got out of college. You don't even know. We don't even know what you can do. And we're like, I don't care. I'm a person. I think it's just like the demand for respect that just like, it's like, hey, you want me to work here and respect your boundaries and do your rules. I feel like there's a level of respect you should have for me as the employee, because without me, your business don't run. You know, without me, you're not making money. If I'm not making money for you, doing the job you don't want to do, you're not going to make any money. So therefore, you should be paying me more. And that's just, you know, and that's just the way it is. That's the way we see it. It's like, oh, you don't want to pay me more? Cool. I'm going to go out and find my own thing. And that's just the way that our society's staying now. And that's why we're had this great resignation. That's like why the whole thing is happening, because it's not just Gen Z, obviously it's millennials too, and millennials really guided the force to that. I wanted to talk about the millennial influence. So like I said, elder Gen Z here, but you know, like I have cousins that are like 30 and stuff, and you know, they're definitely millennials, and you can just see like the influence of just that whole generation over Gen Z. Like, you know, millennials definitely like guided the way towards this new normal of society, like the not gonna take anyone's shit society. That's definitely the way. Like, millennials are the ones that guided that and are the ones that really framed that into our, you know, just our way of thinking. Like, that's just the way it's supposed to be. Millennials definitely show, like, again, like when social media and everything was just starting, millennials were definitely, you know, they were the first ones that got to take advantage of that, because most of us Gen Zers were like babies, so our parents were not having that posting on social media at 7 years old. Even me trying to get my Facebook, I had to beg my mom for that Facebook account. She was not having it. So yeah, the millennials are the first ones that really got to like try out this new thing, and most of them didn't really even know that it was going to end up being something that would make them money. You know, they were just like, hey, I want to be able to express myself. This is like a new hobby that they were, you know, a new passion project they were creating for themselves. With us, Gen Z, growing up, you know, watching YouTube and all that, and Instagram, and you know, we had Vine and stuff like that growing up. Like, that really shaped the way that we saw things. Like, you know, we had a lot of influence, and like just seeing other people live their quote unquote best lives. And yeah, and that really just changed our whole perspective on how we feel like our society should be shaped, and how we feel like basically how the way you make money has changed. And then also, like, millennials came out of college, going into like basically the great not the Great Recession, but in the recessions in like 2008, that was when a lot of them were coming out of college and supposed to be starting their careers. So they're starting a career in a demographic where, you know, salaries were low, college tuition is higher than ever, and then job stability just wasn't the same, because, you know, jobs don't really, it's not like back in the day when baby boomers, you know, they had pensions, and it was like, if you stay at this job for, 30 years, you're guaranteed a pension and retirement money and all that. Like, it's not like that anymore, because, corporations said they're losing money. But now we're not making as much money. Millennials are the first generation that are making less money than their parents are. The first generation where that's ever happened, because the whole generation is just in so much debt because of inflation and, a bunch of other stuff. College tuition being so high, that they're just not able to have like the same lifestyles. And when you're put to that point, you're gonna start reinventing your own way and start being like, I can do better than this, and coming up with your own thing, which is crazy. So that's basically what happened. Now everybody's a freaking entrepreneur. Leads me into the art of the side hustle. With the, with the newfound economy, with everybody making lower wages for the lower wages in the lifestyle that our lives are not creating, and the rise of inflation with everything costing more than, in the generations past, everybody has a side hustle now. So everybody has a side hustle. If you don't have a side hustle or 7 streams of income, blah, blah, you're broke. At this point, it's like, hey, you're only making 1 stream of income. Like, what are you doing? How are you surviving? How are your bills getting paid at this point? Because like, your regular 9 to 5 is supporting you enough where you can do that and go on vacation and do this. Crazy. And that's why people start talking about like the about our culture being like too much work culture, and that's like, that goes into the mental health thing too, that you don't, that we're working ourselves like so much, because not only do you have those 40 hours in your 9 to 5, you're putting at least 20 to 40 hours in on your side hustle, just so you can make ends meet and survive in today's economy. Just to try to keep up with the world, as a middle class citizen. It's like, either you stay the same and you be broke, or you figure out more ways of making money and you go up. That's kind of like our only answer right now, which is crazy. So now let's talk about what really went on in this pandemic, which is the rise of TikTok. So everybody's bored at their house. What else are we gonna do? Everybody got on TikTok, and everybody discovered that they can make money on TikTok and that they could start their own businesses. So that's what everybody and their mama did. So everybody has their own businesses now and is on TikTok, and it was just, TikTok made it much easier to become now part of this group of being an influencer. Like, before, the only ways of becoming an influencer was to get a lot of followers on Instagram. Really, like Twitter, people monetize Twitter, but not as much. But really, it was just Instagram and YouTube. It was like, you become a YouTuber, which can take years to actually see monetization, to get a following, and all that, and get into the algorithm. Whereas TikTok, like, you can scroll through 100 TikToks in like 2 hours, and just the exposure, like, because they're only 1-minute videos, and there's just way more exposure at a much faster pace, and our brains were like eating that up. So people took advantage of that, and you can just, like I said, the following, the views. TikTok is really, like, the algorithm is made for people to see, content in abundance. It's made to, like, it's so hard to hit like 1 million views on something like YouTube, whereas TikTok, you could see 1 million views and you've only been posting for like 3 months or something. It's crazy. Because like this influencer lifestyle that we've seen has been really growing over the last like 10 years or so. But I was just listening to a podcast yesterday. It's actually called Girl Boss Podcast. They're interviewing somebody. I don't remember his name. I'll put it on the screen if I remember. But he was talking about how like a lot of us that want to be influencers or aspire to be in that lifestyle, that we feel like it's too late, that it's, you know, so many people are trying to do it, but it's actually not too late. Because like, think about how many lawyers there are in the world. We're never like, oh my god, there are so many lawyers, oh my gosh, there is so many, you know, real estate agents. Like, there are thousands and thousands of people that take up that job title. Like, of course there are going to be thousands and thousands of people that take up a job title of being a social media influencer, creating their own business online. And it seems really rewarding, because like, oh, I can choose my destiny, even if it is, you know, harder. Instead of a 9 to 5, you end up doing it 24/7 because you're working for yourself. But it's like, at least I'm calling the shots. Like, if I don't feel good that day, nobody's gonna be like, I can't call myself and be like, hey, I don't feel good, and myself's gonna be like, come to work anyway. Like, you know, you feel like you can take more liberties, and that at least if you're working hard, that you're working hard towards something that you actually genuinely care about, and not just for a paycheck for somebody else that you don't give a shit about anyway. So yeah. So final thoughts. Gen Z is not lazy. I think the whole point of that I just wanted to make was like, Gen Z is not really lazy, or we're not running away from quote unquote real jobs. We're just more concerned about our mental health, and we've just seen a big lifestyle jump in, you know, the past couple of years, and our ideals of what our lives should look like has changed. And those lives are expensive. So I think that's the real reason why everybody's just like, either I'm going to make a lot of money in doing what I want to do, or I'm just gonna be broke and have good mental health. That's kind of like the way it is. It's like, if I'm not gonna make any money, I'd rather have my mental health. If I'm not gonna have my mental health, I'd rather be making all the money and be able to live the life I want, you know? That's basically the way I feel like Gen Z looks at everything. So it's like, no, we're not against real jobs. I'm just against society's BS. And that's basically it. So yeah, hope you found this video interesting. Hope it came out well. It's my first time doing like a kind of analytical sit down about my opinion. So yeah, please tell me in the comments if you enjoyed, if I should make more videos like this. I have a whole list of topics I'd like to talk about. But yeah, so please subscribe on this channel. I'm doing a lot of lifestyle, probably a little bit more sit downs like this. I'm gonna start incorporating challenges and all those types of things. So yeah, please stay tuned. I have a lot in store for this channel. Like I said, gotta get that side hustle on them popping. So yeah, so please subscribe, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, and yeah, bye. Gotta go to work.